In this video, I'm going to tell you how anyone can not only get a second passport for free, but can actually get paid to get that second passport. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you'd like to learn how our Nomad Capitalist team can help you with your citizenship strategy or your holistic offshore strategy, learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. Now let's talk about what I call get paid to get a passport. You see, a lot of people who are interested in getting a second passport, the first thing they encounter is citizenship by investment. Typically programs in Caribbean nations like St. Lucia, Dominique, etc. I'm all in favor of these, and we've helped a lot of people get them. I've done it myself. I think it makes a lot of sense for some people's strategies, especially if you need a second passport like very quickly and you just need it guaranteed, no nonsense, for financial planning or for whatever other reasons. It makes a lot of sense. However, a lot of people, even if they can afford it, they look at this and say, I don't want to make a donation of $100,000 to some country. It's an island. I don't know what's going on. Is there a better way to do it? And the answer is sometimes, yes, there is. So let's talk about ways that you can not only get a second passport for free, but get paid for a second passport. First, let me tell you what I'm not talking about. Obviously, if you are born on the soil of any number of countries around the world, you get citizenship by birth. If I'm born in the United States, I'm a US citizen. If I'm born in Brazil, I'm a Brazilian citizen. Also, if you have parents, grandparents, great-grandparents who had a certain nationality, you can generally acquire that through descent. You may have to pay some de minimis government fees. It's basically free if you qualify. But let's assume you weren't born in a country whose passport you want. You don't have any ancestors who can help you. How can you get a passport by using some money that you have without having to just give it away, never to be seen again? And this is what I call fast-track naturalization, or what we call get paid to get a passport. I'll give you an example of one program that is in the industry called Citizenship by Investment. It has some of the characteristics of what I would call fast-track naturalization. It's probably a citizenship by investment because anyone can get it. They don't have nationality restrictions, really. It's pretty commoditized. If you make the investment, it's pretty much guaranteed. But it's Turkey. Turkey offers citizenship by investment to anyone who invests $250,000 in real estate, $500,000 in bank deposits, and holds that for 3 years. Now, if you don't like Turkey, hang on, because I'm going to get to some other ideas. But Turkey is a great example because unlike in the Caribbean, where instead of making a donation, you can buy overpriced real estate, it's basically a timeshare. In those countries, you're going to pay a lot of fees. You might pay $50,000, $35,000 in government fees, plus all the lawyers' fees, plus you're going to lose money in the investment, almost guaranteed. So you're still net out. And in most cases, I just advise people make the donation because, why tie up extra capital to be in the same net position 5 years later? However, in Turkey, the government has rather de minimis government fees. The legal fees aren't as high because the goal was not to limit the work to a small number of approved lawyers, but really any lawyer can handle it. And so the biggest cost in the Turkey program when you invest in real estate is buying overpriced real estate from a developer. So we have a full-time person on our team, she actually speaks Turkish, who we go through for not only Istanbul, but many other markets around the world, and we keep big databases of properties and what they should sell for. And so as long as you can buy real estate in Istanbul, which is probably where I would buy it if I'm doing Turkey, as long as you can buy real estate for a reasonable price that you could sell it for at least that much and probably more at the end of the 3 years, then you're going to be successful because you can probably get 5, 6, 7% rental yield. You have some expenses, but you're still getting 5% return. So let's call it 15% simple interest on your $250, plus maybe there's some appreciation. For sure, that's going to cover your costs of turning the citizenship on because we're doing it for several folks right now and the costs are less than that. So probably sometime in the second year, you're going to break even. And then by the time the 3 years is up and you're able to liquidate your investment and keep your citizenship, you're going to be ahead of the game. You didn't spend $100,000, you actually made money. Now, obviously in Turkey, they use the lira. And so particularly for the rental income, some properties could be sold in dollars. or euros, but the rental income is often going to be in lira, and so you might see some currency fluctuation on that. So not the strongest currency, but the bottom line is the principle that you can get paid to get a passport. And so one of the things that we've specialized in here at Nomad Capitalist for people that we work with over the last 3 or 4 years has been finding these opportunities that are less commoditized. To me, a citizenship by investment program is one where anyone can come. So right now you're starting to see the influx of Chinese into an already popular Turkish program. And so why I mention that is there are certain countries that would grant citizenship to an American or a Brit or an Australian because they like those countries, they have good economic relations, and for as politically incorrect as it is, it's the truth. These countries view, let's say the U.S. is better than they are. Some of these countries that grant citizenship to Americans very easily, they might, be afraid of granting citizenship to Chinese because they don't want 20,000 Chinese. They're willing to grant citizenship to 500 Americans. Let me give you an example of how this has been applied before. Steven Seagal, a number of years ago, went to Serbia and had met with the president and said, you know what, I'm opening I think it was a Taekwondo studio. The president said, hey, you know what? I'm going to make you a citizen. There are countries where the countries have priorities of we want to create jobs in rural areas. We want agriculture investment. We want, we want people to invest in real estate. We want people to buy government bonds. There are different things that you can do. And there are provisions where your naturalization can be put to the front of the pile or the timeline can be shortened if you invest money. These are sometimes only open to certain nationalities. And so because we work with a lot of Westerners here at Nomad Capitalist, it's easier for us because, again, it's not me saying it, it's the government's, but politically speaking, it's easier to naturalize a guy like Steven Seagal than it is, an Indian businessman. It's just the way these governments think. And so if you have a Western passport, let's say you can go and invest $100,000 in a hotel project in a rural resort area that the country's trying to build up. And you've got to hold that under the terms of the deal for 5 years, and the developer is going to pay you, 4% a year. And then they'll refund your investment in 5 years. Well, you just got, again, if it's simple interest, you just got $20,000 return. That might, well cover the costs of the legal fees of setting up your residence permit and then fast tracking your application to where maybe you get a passport in 6 months or 12 months. Now, what I want to be very clear is, I'm not talking about these deals that you might see online occasionally. I made a video on the Instagram second passport scam. Anyone who's telling you you're getting a passport in 14 days because they know someone, that's a scam. But if there is a process in the law where you can go and a certain person, like in some cases, for example, it's the parliament. If the parliament says this guy should be a citizen or this group of people should be a citizen, they can become a citizen. And so what we've tried to do is find legal ways by going all around the world to countries and talking to people who are the ministers of finance and people who are in the government saying, hey, what would help you? If people wanted to come in your country, is there a way that they could get citizenship? And so this is commonly talked about. You may have heard of the Austrian citizenship program. Some people call it citizenship by investment. It is not, because one of the things that I believe is important to them is that you be able to integrate into Austrian society. So again, if you're from Bolivia, unfortunately they may not allow you in. There's really no such thing as citizenship by investment in Austria. What it is if you invest enough money and you go and you go to all the balls and the galas and they like you, they'll say, hey, you know what? This guy's one of us and he's done something good for the country. It happens all the time with Olympic athletes, particularly in Gulf countries. It's happened in some Asian countries where they want to bring arts and culture into the country. And so if you're an investor, there are places where you can do this. Turkey is probably the most commoditized example of that. We're always looking for ways that we can do that legally. The most important element is, no money should be changing hands. It should be a pure play investment, you the investor, into the investment. If you're paying, and then you pay the lawyer, of course. If someone in the government's being paid, that's a problem. And so there's certain countries we've gone to where they're like, yeah, we'd love to do that, but Maybe you invest in my brother's, my brother's ski resort. No, you don't want to do that. But if you can find, arm's length investments in countries, that's one thing we work at. If you'd like to learn how we can help you with that, you can certainly go to nomadcapitalist.com and help you. Again, Turkey is one example you could certainly do on your own. If you'd like us to help you, send us an email. We'd love to help you put this together. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.